Sending volunteers to Spain as the Soviet Union is typically a really good way to get early XP for the Soviet Union. However, most people tend to lose the Spanish Civil War, in spite of the fact that it's actually fairly easy to win. I have found a way to win the Spanish Civil War about 95% of the time, and it's a strategy I've been using for about a year now. I really think that this is a simple strategy to follow, but at the same time, it's not that unreasonable, and it gets a lot of XP. So, let's get into it. Okay, so the only thing that we need to do is create a volunteer army. What I like to use is tanks and mountaineers. For the tanks, we want to choose all 4 of these level 3s. We're going to break those off. And for the mountaineers, we're going to just take the top 2 and then put those in our army composition. For the rest of the tanks, we want to disband them just because it gives us a nice surplus of light tanks, and we're going to need a surplus just because obviously you're gonna run out of tanks faster than you can produce them. So you really need this surplus of tanks for the war. For your generals, you can really choose these 3 guys, but I'm gonna choose Zhukov just because he is the best when it comes to planning speed. And then that's really the whole setup. You don't need to do anything else that you wouldn't normally do, and just wait for the Spanish War to start. Immediately after Spain breaks out into the Civil War, you want to send volunteers. So we're going to send the volunteer army, and we're going to send air volunteers. Something that I would suggest is turning it down to 1 speed and waiting exactly 1 hour, and then that will allow you to immediately send air volunteers. So we'll send them there, and we're gonna just wait until our forces can arrive on the 31st. Okay, so once our units have been deployed, we want to focus the front line down here. Just this one tile. The reason is because this section here is basically unrecoverable. You can't really make it up here without expanding your front line to a ridiculous degree, and even then it's really hard to even save them. They'll probably just collapse before you can even make it up there. And the other thing is you don't want to focus on the north, because the anarchist will rise up before you can do anything, at least notable. So we want to make our front line down here, and we're going to make a spearhead down to these 2 tiles. That's because their supply hubs are down here and here, and if you can manage to take Cordoba, they have very little supply, and we can encircle all of these divisions, which is going to be extremely helpful, as it will they will not be able to recover from that. So once we broke this tile, they're going to have to retreat, and we're going to use that to advance into these 3 tiles. Okay, so we were able to take the port really easily, so we want to push in. Definitely take that tile, and we're just going to keep moving. Also, it will automatically extend your front for some reason. Just be sure to bring it back. Okay, so we've taken both these tiles and we're gonna make an offensive probably to here, but we want to make sure that we get Cordoba. That's gonna be really important. Okay, so now we have encircled this one division here, and we're gonna just focus on taking that out. Okay, so we made this encirclement. They have nowhere to go, and I think we want to extend that offensive out just a little bit. But yeah, they're locked in here, and this is gonna give us the momentum we need to continue our offensive. Okay, so once we have completely cleaned up that pocket, I think it's wise to start outmaneuvering and encircling some divisions. So we can probably take weak points and maybe encircle a couple units, but we want to keep pushing up. You could also try pushing from the side and encircling a bunch of units, but I think that that's going to be a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit harder to do that, probably because of these lines look a little bit thicker. So probably not going to do that, but we will definitely try to push up through here. Okay, so the anarchists have risen up. We probably don't need to even man this front for a while. They still haven't even fully cleaned up that pocket there, so we've made some really good progress. I think we're gonna just keep pushing up until we reach the coastline. One thing I would possibly suggest is manning the capital with maybe one of your mountaineers. You don't have to, and I think I'm going to just in case, but it's a good way to keep your capital from collapsing if they're advancing onto Madrid. So something that you can definitely do. Okay, so now we've completely split the nationalists in half, and I think that we're gonna go take out this end, and then they might capitulate, we'll see. But as you can see, we've made huge progress. I really think that you really just need to give up on the northern front. You just need to push through the south, and that should get you all the way through. I'm gonna keep my Mountaineer here, but you honestly don't need to if you decided to keep it there. We're gonna just close this pocket, and then we're gonna continue an offensive up here. so we now broke La Coruña, and we can take out all of these units because they have no port. Okay, so now we've taken out all the units in this region, and we're gonna just push all the way east until they both capitulate. Okay, so now the nationalists have capitulated, and we can focus on the anarchist. Alright, so we have finally won the Spanish Civil War for the Republicans. Now, I think that this can definitely be further optimized. I was able to finish it by July of 38, but I imagine that you could do this earlier, especially if you get maybe a little bit better of a setup than I did. But yeah, it's very doable. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.